Ahoy there, and welcome back to DohMance Dawn, your number one podcast discussing One Piece and The Simpsons at the same time. I'm your jolly captain, Luke. Hair, they, some. I messed up my own intro. Gosh, he, him. Sometimes they, them. I am joined by my lovely, wonderful first mate, Janine.
Hello, my name is Janine. My pronouns are she, they, and I think that my podcasting partner should go by he, they, just so that we could be able to have a little bit of a rhyme scheme. But they, them sometimes also works. Anyway, we're joined by a guest today on this episode. Could you please introduce yourself in the manner which you would like to be introduced as?
Absolutely. My name is Geoffrey Golden. My pronouns are he, him. But I also think that Luke's pronouns should be he, they. I have no stake in it. I'm weighing in for no good reason. And you can find me. I'm a game designer and comics writer, and you can find more about me at geoffreygolden.com. And I spell it with the G. Geoffrey, and that's and I'm here. I'm here, and we booked this podcast like 5 months in advance.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah,
and it's the longest lead time I've ever had on a podcast. Mostly when I do a podcast, it's like, hey, somebody dropped out. Can you be on a podcast in an hour from now? And I'm like, sure. And then I just have dinner late. But this one, I had 5 months of prep time. And I'll tell you, I did all my preparation like 2 days before. So I had like 5 months to do it. And I was like, oh, that's right. That podcast, I should probably prepare for it at some point. So... yeah, good time. Yeah. I love it though. I love the organization. Mm-hmm. I admire that.
I sent you like a 5-page document, and then I just explained everything in brief.
It was a whole doc, and I was like, reading it, and I was like, because I was a guest on a podcast, I need to know as little as possible about what I am about to do. So I'm reading through it, all this well-compiled information. I'm like, what do I need to know? What do I need to know? And then it's like, watch these 3 episodes of One Piece. And I'm like, got it. Watch a television show. I can do that. Mm-hmm. I'm an American, and I know how to watch 3 episodes of a television show. I could do it.
So what we like to do is kind of establish baseline levels for your like background. So what is your background with Simpsons?
Oh, grew up with watching The Simpsons. You know, it's when it first came out and it was sort of in its fad era, I wasn't as interested in it. I kind of thought it wasn't like the cartoon for me. There were a lot of like cartoons at that time, great cartoons that were aimed directly at me and my age group. And I was like, I'm not so sure about this. But when it was I think when The Simpsons got into its 3rd season, everybody I knew was like, Geoffrey, you have to start watching The Simpsons again because it's like the best show ever now. And they were right. And I would watch every episode multiple times in syndication. So I'd watch them when they came out, obviously on Sunday nights on Fox. And then we would also watch them like every day we get home from school. And it was usually on, I think, right before dinner. It's like at 5 o'clock or something. So we would watch it like right before dinner, and then dinner. So I've seen the classic episodes multiple times. I fell out. I don't know exactly what season it was, but I was watching it for a long time and not liking it. Like I had a lot of years where I was like, well, I guess I have to watch The Simpsons forever because It was so good. And I think it was the episode where Fat Tony is on a reality show. It's like his Fat Tony's family. It's like a reality show.
We
And I
haven't
think,
gotten there yet.
well, wow, and so you know what I'm talking about, so that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
But I hated it so much, and I remember complaining to my wife, and my wife was like, you don't have to keep watching The Simpsons. And I was like, oh wait, you're right. I don't. My life would probably be better if I stopped. And I did, and she was completely right.
Mm-hmm.
So my hats off to her on that one. And so that's my but I continue to love the classic episodes of The Simpsons. I quote it. It is formative in my upbringing. It is yeah. I talk about it all the time. Love the classic episodes. Which I would say go to season 9 or 10 or something like that.
There's some good ones after that, but there's also just a lot more variety and quality. And then, what is your experience or knowledge about One Piece before watching the show for this?
Great. I knew it was the pirate anime.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that Straw Hats were a thing,
Mm-hmm.
and I've seen the guy's face before.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably the extent of my knowledge of One Piece prior to watching 3 episodes for this podcast. I knew basically nothing, almost a total blank slate. And I'm not I do like anime. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
like a no anime person. I definitely have seen a number of classic anime in their entirety. I have watched relatively new anime, so I'm not
Mm-hmm.
completely out of the loop, but I was out of the loop on One Piece. I also knew that it was a long running series. It was one of these series that sounded like there was so many episodes that I would just be intimidated to even try to get into it, because how would you ever complete a series like that? It would be a gargantuan task. It would be a real epic task for anybody foolish enough to try and watch every episode of One Piece and say host a podcast about it. But anyway, that's my familiarity with One Piece.
So, one of the things I like to have is a question specifically tailored to you, our guest. And I recently pulled out my copy of Dream It, Screw It 30 Years of Rejected Disney Park Ideas from Dip Disney. And if good old Dip was still alive, and he could be, I mean, he just vanished after being sent out for cigarettes one last time.
Yes.
With your knowledge of One Piece, what do you think Dip would design as a One Piece attraction? Because it is big enough that, like, for years before the pandemic hit, it had 2 entire floors of the Tokyo Tower devoted to One Piece. It is really big, and like in Saudi Arabia, they're doing a Dragon Ball Z park. So
Right.
the chances of like a One Piece ride are
Yeah.
likely.
Yeah, it seems like that's a winner. Seems like that would be a good IP to adapt.
Mhm.
Dip Disney, who was Walt's cousin, his idiot cousin, who was a must hire because he saved Walt's life one time when they were children. So Walt was obliged to hire him as an Imagineer. He didn't have very many good ideas. I imagine he would watch One Piece. I think he would be very confused and maybe upset by it. And I think if he was asked to design a ride, I think he would be like, could we just do pirates? We just do Pirates of the Caribbean, but just make them One Piece. Just make them One Piece. Same ride. It works. It's a bona fide classic. It works. Just make them all one. Just make them all One Piece. We're good, right? I think he would say as he slouches back onto his couch and gets drunk off cheap rum and falls asleep. Something like that, I think.
He really became conservative in his old age.
He, I don't know. I think he was conservative pretty much his whole life. He was. I don't think he was ever liberal. I mean, yeah, he was never. The Disney family was not. They were not particularly liberal.
Conservative in the sense that he is not really going all out there with ideas, and
No, he did. In his prime, he had some pretty wild ideas. But I think as he gets older, I think he gets more closed off from the possibility of the new, and I think he gets scared and retreats back to the familiar. Well, it's a scary world when you're an old man, particularly one who is like functionally homeless, like Dip Disney was in his latest years, as I imagine.
Yeah, I just remember that book and was like, oh, I'm going to pull it out and read it, and yeah, it is a fantastic piece of work.
Well, thank you so much for saying so. It has been, that book came out, I believe, in 2016. I can't believe it's been 8 years since that book came out. It feels like I was living a very different life back then. But it's fun to reminisce, fun to think about it again. It's been a long time.
Yes. All right, well, we have a bit of business to take care of before we get into the show. Specifically, I had a mint in the last episode. Shout out to Reverse Eye Patch on the Discord, who said that according to the romanization, Alice's name is not actually pronounced Alice, it is pronounced the Italian way, Alice. So, all of you fan editors back there, every time that I've said Alice, you need to make it say Alice.
That's cool that you've got fan editors. That's really cool. And so is there then a fan edit podcast feed where they're posting their fan edits of the podcast as like a complimentary feed? Because that'd be pretty cool.
I mean, if anyone actually wants to start doing that, they can.
I'm excited.
If you there's a couple of people on the Discord that I feel if you give that permission to, they might actually take it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm posting them to YouTube. I think they're set up for remixes and stuff. So if you want to do live react videos, that is a way you can spend your time. But I mean, I also now do how to write comic videos on YouTube, so you can also spend your time doing those. But we are not here to talk about projects that I started since the last episode. We are here to talk about episodes that initially ran between December 21st of the year 2008 and January 11th of the year 2009. This was the first year that I was away at college, and I came back and I had failed multiple classes. Good times.
Yeah, you did it. Listen, education overrated. Underrated. Getting super into anime. That's the future of America. We're all going to be anime podcasters eventually. You're just at the head of the curve here.
Exactly.
I was just staying up till like 2 a.m. every night watching TV and playing video games because I had no supervision.
Yay.
College, art school.
College.
We had no Simpsons episodes that came out during this time, so we're going to be just diving into episodes 382 through 384 of One Piece. These include Noro Menace, Return of Foxy the Silver Fox.
The Great Treasure Contest, Collapse, Spa Island.
Brook's Hard Struggle, the difficult path of becoming a true comrade.
These are weird episodes because neither of them are canonical. One is far more non-canonical. So we'll quickly run through them and then get into what your thoughts were. So the Straw Hats end up on Spa Island, which is a massive flatting platform that is also a spa run by a guy named Duran. And While they're there, they meet Lena and her older sister Sayo and their pet sea raccoon Nucky, who immediately is just disturbing
I cannot look at him directly.
because he has been both cute and horny.
The little fingers just throw me off.
Mm. He also has like a weirdly proportioned face too.
Oh
Like
my god.
his eyeballs look kind of painful. Like they're like bulging, like in a kind of a painful way.
Mm-hmm. Like, even though he is supposed to be a tanuki or a raccoon dog, yeah, it's still weird. So Foxy, Portia, and Hamburg show up trying to capture the girls, and specifically a notebook that Sayo has been holding onto, but because Foxy was unaware of the new Straw Hat members, Brook and Frankie, those two avoid Foxy's mirror ball machine and defeat them. Nami then gets the girls to explain that the book Foxy wanted is instructions to make a gem of the sea, but the last step is hidden somewhere on this island. Lena and Sayo's father, who was an eccentric scientist, left the book behind with a note for them to complete the formula. Duran listens into this conversation, kidnaps Sayo, and forces the Straw Hats to find the secret. And then, partially, this is what was like, oh, hey, Geoffrey would be great at this one. Luffy's like, yeah, instead of doing that, we're just going to destroy the resort until we find out where Sayo is.
That was my favorite moment of the 3 episodes. I really liked that. I wasn't expecting it because I didn't realize that they had superhero type powers and abilities.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like a surprise to see, oh, I see. They are much more powerful than I thought they were. And so their solution is like, I mean, I think it's very much on point for like a group of pirates. Like if a group of pirates have superpowers, you bet they're going to use them to like destroy stuff. So I like that. I like that beat a lot.
It is D&D problem solving. It's like, we don't
Right.
want to solve your mysteries or puzzles. We're just going to break the campaign until you show up with a literal giant cannon and the girl we're trying to save attached to it.
Right. That's right. Yeah, it was. Yeah, they had a very D&D quality to the proceedings. I agree.
Lena, meanwhile, is having issues wanting to follow her dad's dream because she thinks that her dad never cared about them. And then Sayo's like, well, he did love us. You just weren't aware. And he wanted to keep us safe. Which I feel like that's really just kind of shoehorned into the second episode. The pirates destroy the cannon. Luffy destroys the island, which reveals a geothermal vent that the spa was built on, which forms a round rainbow in the sky, which is also known as a gem of the sea. And Foxy and Duran are both disappointed by this revelation that, oh, maybe that's all it is. But then a few days later, Nucky returns to the Straw Hats with a letter pointing out that they were able to correctly create a gem of the sea because the colors in the round rainbow were reversed. And then their dad came home and they sent Luffy the gem, but then a candy rain starts to fall and Luffy loses the gem. And yeah. The second story is Brook trying to adjust to the crew, but he keeps messing everything up. When he talks to Robin about it, he reveals that he's worried he isn't good enough. She tells him not to judge his worth through other people's eyes, and Luffy tells him, yeah, I don't even think about what you're doing wrong. And so Brook plays a song for the crew and then thinks about Laboon. So with no prior experience to One Piece, Geoffrey, what do you think the previous episodes were about of this show?
The previous 200, 400?
Oh, no, like
600
even
episodes?
just like the 5 previous episodes or like the previous arc, like any themes that you...
I'll assume, okay, I mean, I'll assume based on my knowledge of how television works, that these 3 episodes were meant to be like a break after like an intense dark action-packed series of episodes. Maybe, one of their crew died, or maybe they were challenged to their limits and were exhausted. I don't know, or they got more than they bargained for with trying to hunt a certain treasure. That would be my guess.
That's not too far off. They ended up on an island where a evil pirate working for the government was stealing people's shadows to power an army of zombies.
Hmm. Yeah. All right. Yeah, that sounds
Yeah,
pretty dark. So yeah, this was the tone. This was a nice tone break. You can also kind of tell one of the clues that you're getting one of those types of episodes is that the ladies are in bikinis, or anyone is in. And for most of the episodes, that's generally like a sign that's like we're doing like a beach episode. We're doing a palate cleanser.
Definitely a lot more jiggly than things are normally.
I was going to ask about that because they were quite jiggly. I mean, it was very noticeable. Yeah. We were kind of getting what's that game? Dead or Alive Volleyball. I was getting that like the boob physics like kind of level of the jiggling. It was noticeable. It wasn't like subtle. It wasn't a subtle thing.
No, this was like, oh hey, here's new animators. Yeah, we're turning those physics on.
Right.
Yeah. And any other thoughts about this? Has this made you be like, well, I'm interested in One Piece because these are a bunch of weirdos?
I do like a bunch of weirdos. Mm-hmm. I didn't really click into their dynamic, into like their group dynamics. I wouldn't say I would say that watching this has satisfied my curiosity about One Piece, and I feel good about the fact that when somebody mentions One Piece to me now, I can say that I have seen some of it and that I get the general idea of it. But I think the challenge for me is that I tend to like my shows with a little more balance. I feel like with at least the One Piece episodes I saw, it was like so heavy on like silly that I didn't get much of anything else. It's sort of like, it's like think about The Simpsons, right? Like The Simpsons is often silly, but it also has a nice balance of satirical humor, and it also has a nice balance of like family comedy and like character-based humor. As well as like pop culture references. So it has like a nice balance of different types of humor. And I felt like this was really like just silly. It was just like silly, kooky, and that's cool. It's just that's not my thing. I generally like when shows have like different types of humor and it's sort of balanced a little bit.
I think that's fair, especially for these. I would say there's a lot of movies that are mostly standalone that might be worth checking out if you got Netflix.
Yeah, I do have Netflix, so perhaps I will. One thing I was very surprised by. So you sent me a list prior to the podcast of the character. So maybe I shouldn't talk about this yet. We're probably getting to that.
We picked.
Yeah. I want to talk about that, but maybe I can just hold off until later.
Oh no, you can get into that. I mean, we're getting into that now. So.
Okay, great. Okay, then I'll transition. This will be a transition comment into that discussion. I was very surprised by your pick for Duffy, the lead,
Luffy?
The boy. Luffy, thank you. Sorry, Luffy. Which you said you said he was like a Simpsons character that was like some kind of stretch man.
Stretch dude. Yeah. So in the first episode of the show, it is the Treehouse of Horror where Bart becomes Stretch Dude and Lisa becomes Clobber Girl and Xena shows up.
Okay.
So because it's that simpatico.
But it is a Bart character. It's Bart, but with the ability to stretch. Okay, all right. Thank God, because he said because Luffy sounds like so much like Bart Simpson, and his attitude is like so similar to Bart Simpson. I was just looking at the list, and it's like, why isn't it Bart. Like, it's so obviously Bart. And then it's like, okay, I see. You chose an obscure Bart variant. Got it. Okay, no issues then.
Yeah.
You made that's a good call. I would say that's
It's
a
an
good call.
OBV, an
Yes,
obscure Bart variant.
it's an obscure Bart variant. It's an OBV. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, good. Phew.
All right. Well, we will then get into our 4 character picks for the show. We have 4 characters who we are casting for. Up first, we have Duran, specifically from Spa Island. I have 3 picks for this. My Rodrigo style, and if you're listening to your first episode, a Rodrigo style is a character pick from Simpsons episodes that we either covered this episode or in the most recent episode. And my Rodrigo style was Tom Turkey. My throwback pick from other episodes of The Simpsons that we have covered while doing the show is the Cat in the Hat masseuse. And then my third pick was Gregory, who is the massage therapist at Rancho Relaxo, who gives Troy McClure a massage. Janine, who do you have?
I didn't like this character particularly very much, so I saddled him with the Rodrigo style that was from our last pick from the My Pods and Boomsticks. I chose the racist genie voiced by Dan Castellaneta.
Yeah, the last episode that we covered, Geoffrey, was the one where they tried to cover Homer being Islamophobic, and Dan Castellaneta plays the genie from Aladdin, except, God, it's super racist.
Oh boy.
This was in Obama's America.
Yeah, this is I think I was out before that point.
No, not yet. We haven't gotten to the Fat Tony reality show.
Oh God, did I watch that episode? Oh God, I'm sad. I'm sad just thinking that I watched.
I would be
memory hold things.
Yeah, I definitely memory hold it then.
I am holding on for hope that you will never remember anything about it. It is
good.
Very much worth repressing.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that, and I will.
All right, and then your other pick.
I don't have one. I just did straight Rodrigo's up on this one because we had a lot of quirky ones that I thought would be very funny for this filler arc.
All right, and then Geoffrey, who did you have?
All right, so I didn't do multiple. I did one pick for Simpsons character that I thought had a parallel. And I was looking for like a malevolent shopkeeper, business owner. And so I chose Mr. Pettigrew, who is known as who is the yes guy. Yes. Because I could imagine that guy, being like, "Oh, I'll help you," and then pulling out a cannon of some kind. And I love that character. He's it's a character from the Jack Benny show, and I grew up on the radio show, and so when the Simpsons started referencing it, I was like, "Holy shit, they're referencing Jack Benny." I get that joke, and no one else in my age group will. Neat. I feel like a special connection to the Simpsons writers, the Gen X Simpsons writers, who also shouldn't know who the Jack Benny characters are. But there you go. Oh, I guess some of them were boomers too, so they would know. Anyway, that's my pick, Mr. Pettigrew.
I feel like the yes guy is probably the clearer version. That's apparently what the wiki has for him.
Okay, yeah. I had to look up. So I guess I'm being a smart ass here. I looked up the Simpsons yes guy, and then I went to the wiki, the Simpsons wiki, and they said the yes guy, whose name is Mr. Pettigrew. So I was like, all right, I'll call him Mr. Pettigrew. I didn't know that.
No, I like it. I love that she just used his legal Christian name for it.
Also, good news. According to the Simpsons wiki, he is still alive. Which I guess cannot be said about all Simpsons characters at this point. So Good work, Mr. Pettigrew. Way to go.
So his name is only revealed non-canonically in a cut scene from The Dad Who Knew Too Little.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, great.
Oh my god. So he's not
yeah.
officially that, but he is still unofficially that.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Until like
interesting.
they do give like a canonical name to him.
But he also, according to the Simpsons wiki, he also appears in The Simpsons Tapped Out, which makes me think that he's probably clickable and that probably his name comes up when you click on him. But I wonder if he's just listed as the yes guy in Simpsons Tapped Out.
He is
Oh my
the
God.
yes guy.
Okay, great. All right then. The yes guy it is. That is more accurate in my opinion.
Yeah. Like either that or Frank Nelson type if you want to be more specific. But
yes, although that I think is much more obscure in a way. So that's going back to the Jack Benny show stuff. So anyway, that's my pick. Yes guy.
So I do feel like yes guy is maybe too big of a character
Oh
to
my
use.
god. Are you going to introduce our guest to the Ooter pile first?
Yes, the Ooter pile. The Ooter pile is the Simpsons characters who we are saving for someone who is more well known because I have been defensive about using Ooter Zorker.
So you're saying that the yes guy is like too popular a character,
right?
To use to use on the podcast.
He does that to me so much about Fidel Castro.
Yes.
I don't even think the yes guy is like when they do those like big posters of like here's everyone in Springfield. I don't even think the yes guy makes it to those posters.
Right?
Like he's no Disco Stew. Like he's, you know what I mean? He's I mean, you know, he's
like
he hasn't risen.
People like him more than Disco Stew, but Disco Stew is so much more of an iconic character than Yes Guy.
Well, Disco Stew knows how to advertise, so that's his.
I don't think we're going to get a origin story for the yes guy, but Duran is a non-canonical filler character. Like he at least deserves 2 stars or more.
So we should save Yes Guy for somebody who shows up in as many episodes that Yes Guy shows up in The Simpsons, which I guess is like 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, plus the movie.
Wow, he is in 19 episodes. Well, but a lot of these are after I stopped watching, I think. So
yes.
I wouldn't know that. Well, yeah, that's fun. Listen, I threw it out there as this was. I didn't realize like that we had to pick more obscure characters than the yes guy. So, I don't think I'm going to do well at this podcast, but I'll throw my options out there and we'll see we'll see how I do.
That's sometimes how it works. I'm in support of the Cat in the Hat masseuse. I don't think we do get a lot of masseuses or spa workers in One Piece.
I would think that I don't know. I like the.
He also has a lot of "I hate my customers" energy. I am putting a link into the Google Doc that I made that has my picks because I just go extra. Because I think he also has a similar energy to the Cat in the Hat and masseuse.
Well, this is a character I don't even remember this Cat in the Hat masseuse. So
he appears in the opening of the one where Sideshow Bob has to help Homer avoid the person who's trying to murder him, who turns out to be Frank Grimes' son.
No, I don't remember. I don't remember Frank Grimes having a son.
It's very forgettable.
I'm I am sad that I'm sad that they went back to that well. Well, it was like that's like a perfect episode.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well. Anyway, not my problem, but okay. I am unfamiliar with this character.
Janine?
I would save somebody more whimsical for somebody who dressed a little bit more cunty than this freak. I would prefer the Rancho Relaxo masseuse,
Gregory.
Gregory.
Cool. Let's go with Gregory. Up next, we have Lena, the younger of the two sisters. Janine, who do you have for Lena?
I have Cuckoo Clock Lisa from the Cuckoo Clock opening.
Mm-hmm. Geoffrey, who did you have?
Oh, I'm definitely not gonna get get this. I picked I did them both as a pair, and I did Sherry and Terry. You know, they didn't read to me like obviously they didn't read to me like Marge's sisters, and so I was like, what are some other sister characters on the Simpsons? Like, oh, and then it's like, okay, well, there's Sherry and Terry. They're also not exactly like Sherry and Terry either, but I figured that was decent.
Well, are there any Sherry and Terry variants we could think of right now that could be able to fill in the spot for a filler characters?
Oh God, are there? They're very. Oh, I guess there would be from various. You're probably Sherry from the Simpsons arcade game, the version specific to the arcade game.
There was Tweedle Sherry and Tweedle Terry from I've Grown a Costume on Your Face.
Oh, damn.
Oh wow, yeah, from that Treehouse of Horror episode.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those are pretty good picks.
Oh, here's something I'm learning from the Simpsons wiki page. Apparently, Terry's the one on the right, and Sherry is always on the left, according to Matt Groening. So, if you're ever wondering, you're looking at a frame of the Simpsons, and you're wondering which one is Sherry, which one is Terry. Now you know.
I won't remember that, but I did finally remember which one is Patty and which one is Selma, because Selma's hair looks like an M, because she's Selma. And Patty's hair looks like a P.
Because it's Patty.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I love that.
My Rodrigo style was Lisa Sally, because there's a bit in the Great Pumpkin one where Lisa dresses like Sally from the Peanuts. My throwback was Honesty, another Lisa variant. And then I put in Valley Mercer, who was one of the obscure Simpsons background student characters who has a name at some point.
Yeah, you got me.
Yeah.
I think we should hold off until we find out what everybody chose for Sayo, because it is a package deal for
It is.
Pick.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then up next we have Nucky. Geoffrey, who do you have for Nucky?
I chose Mojo, Homer's helper monkey. I thought it was pretty good because he's like clearly like intelligent, but there's something like really, there's something like kind of sad and wrong about him, right? So that was sort of my pick, and he's like, yeah, supposed to be. So he's like a helper, he's supposed to help you.
Yeah. My Rodrigo style was there's a Santa's little helper Snoopy that appears in the bit. My throwback was Nelson Raccoon from I've Grown a Costume on Your Face when he says he's the Lone Ranger, but then he gets turned into a raccoon. And then the other one that I just had was Homer Raccoon because we already used Bart and Lisa Raccoon. Janine, who do you have?
I have Three-Way.
What is Three-Way?
Three-Way is a a transmorphobot.
Oh, okay. I think I
Um,
remember the transform. I remember that parody. I think. Um,
yeah, it's a treehouse of horrors of like all of the appliances start turning into robots that start fighting each other, and there was a boombox called Three Way because it
oh
played music
yeah.
in three ways.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty certain. Oh, okay. Wait, it's not one of the Choco bots.
No.
Three ways in one of the Choco. Okay, all right. Then I don't know. Three
You don't
way.
know
I'll have
Three
to look it
Way.
up on this
Mhm.
wiki. I'll have to look it
I
up on
think
this
you would.
wiki.
I think you would
Don't,
adore Three Way.
don't, please don't Google
Google
Simpsons three-way
everybody
without.
right now. Google Simpsons Three Way.
Okay, well, I'm googling it right now. Let's just see what comes up. Let's see. Oh no! Oh no! Oh god! They're fucking the three-eyed fish. I hate that. But I also found the robot, and yeah, it's cool. I like it. I like
Mhm.
Transformers parodies. Always
Yeah.
have, always will. Did you ever read Geoffrey Brown, the cartoonist Transformers parody? That one's really good. I'm trying to
I
remember
did
what it's
not.
called. Hold on a second. Parody Geoffrey Brown. It's like treats the Transformers like people, and they're just like kind of having like a conversation. The Incredible Change Bots. Yeah,
Mm.
it was a series of graphic novels by Geoffrey Brown. Um, and they're sort of they're like they're just like they're like regular guys, and then they happen to sometimes they have to fight things, but for the most part they just sort of have conversations with each other. It's interesting. It's fun. I like it. Has a kind of an Adult Swim vibe to it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So we have 5 options here. Janine, are you leaning in any particular direction?
Listen, Nucky transforms.
Mm-hmm.
Three-way transforms.
Mm-hmm.
You can't get a better line than those two.
Jeffrey, are you good with
Three-way?
picking three-way as Nucky?
Absolutely. Go for
All
it.
right.
You
Janine
deserve
gets
the
her
win.
three-way.
You deserve the win. You did the work. You went deep. You did a
Mm-hmm.
deep dive and you found a transforming character on The Simpsons. I love it.
Yes. All right. So then we have Sayo. My Rodrigo Sayo was Wicca Lisa from the same Halloween special. My throwback was Conscience, which is another Lisa variant. And then I had Long Hair Girl, who is another background Simpsons student. Janine, who did you have to go with your Cuckoo Clock Lisa?
Buzz Cola with lemon.
Great.
Oh, oh no, I forgot to say King Atticus had suggested Smiley the dog, who I don't think was necessarily a good fit for Nucky, but I did want to put that in there. I forget the Buzz Cola with lemon bit.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I immediately get it. I like that. I don't remember I don't remember what episode it's from, but I like thinking about it. They should sell that in the theme parks. They should sell that at
Oh,
Universal Studios. Buzz Cola with lemon. That'd be great.
it appears in How to Get Ahead in Deadvertising as one of the products that gets promoted. Homer accidentally kills a celebrity, and then companies pay him more. That way, they can use those celebrities' likenesses without needing to pay them. And then those celebrities come down from heaven, and then Homer escapes to heaven and has sex with Abraham Lincoln.
Wow, what season are we talking at this
Uh,
point?
that's Treehouse of Horror XIX, which is season 20.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Well, I like Buzz Cola with lemon. Again, I'll stand by if they were selling it at Universal Studios, I'd buy it. I'd buy Buzz Cola with lemon because that's a funny specific.
Mhm. I'm just. How did you get to Buzz Cola with lemon, Janine?
I was thinking to myself, what were things that we got, like new characters last time that I didn't get to use
Mm-hmm.
that were hilarious to me? And it was the genie. It was the Cuckoo Clock opening characters. It was specifically three-way, so I could say three-way.
Mm-hmm.
And
And you like to
but
say three-way as
A person who's very turned on by middle-aged women.
I was thinking you weren't going to be able to find a use for that button. This feels a little stretched, but I'll accept it. And the
well,
last
you know
one
who
was
doesn't care about stretch marks, Janine?
A person who's very turned on by middle-aged women.
Yes, okay. Buzz Cola with lemon. Luke, you like this.
I can accept that if we can get Lisa Sally in, because Lena needs to be in there. And I feel like the Lisa Sally, she has a change of opinion. We get a bit of character growth, and then her big sister is Buzz Cola with lemon.
Yeah, that's all she has to be. Is just Buzz Cola with lemon.
Geoffrey, is that acceptable to you?
Oh, y'all nailed it. Y'all just hit it out of the park. My hat's off to you both.
We've been doing this for over 60 episodes. We've got it down to a weird art. All right. Well, Geoffrey, thank you for joining us for this episode. Where can people find you online?
Oh, it's my pleasure. People can find me at equipstory.com. That is my newsletter. You can get it delivered to your inbox. I'm a professional game designer. I've worked for Ubisoft, Square, worked for all these indie studios around the world, and worked for Disney Interactive and such. And I talk about how making games can be as fun as playing games. And right now, I'm currently developing a visual novel with my wife, who is a romance fiction editor. It's a dating sim, very much inspired by X-Men, the animated series. And so if you ever were watching X-Men and you're like, you know what I'd like to do? I'd like to date them. That is what this is. That is the fantasy that this is satisfying. And I feel like, given your vast history of X-Men podcasting, I feel like some of your listeners may be into that. And so you can read more about the development at equipstory.com. And we're about to post the first part of the dating sim, and yeah, that'll be out soon.
Nice. Janine, where can you be found online?
You can be able to find me on Twitter and Blue Sky, Janine at Janine Juliet, and on Instagram, Janine is dope. And I might be making a Space Hay. It's like MySpace. I never had like a MySpace with like a really cool layout, and this might be my chance to have a cool MySpace page.
Space
in
Hay?
2024. Space Hay, SPACEHEY.
All right. I am looking this up. Oh, it is very much supposed to be MySpace. Okay, that's funny. I am going to look at this because that is going. I'll look you up too on Space Hay.
Hell yeah. Luke,
Nice.
where can people find you and also stuff about our show?
Well, if you go to YouTube, I believe it's under my name. What is my YouTube channel? Because that's where you can find episodes of the show posted like an hour after they go up. Otherwise, it is Luke Hair It Is on YouTube. You can also find comic writing. You know, it's like Luke Hair It Is.
No, I
Luke,
love
there
it.
it is. Boom,
Shaka
shaka
luck.
laka, shaka laka, shaka laka.
I love it.
Mhm.
That's a very good handle that you got.
Yeah, so you can find me there. If you go to coltreg.itch.io, you can find comics. I'm going to be putting a bunch of additional comics on. Also, we are still doing the crowdfunding Patreon fundraiser, where before we get to the supernovas, every new person who subscribes to the Patreon, which is under my name, Lukeher, Lukeherr, will add another character for open suggestions. And yeah, I think that's everything. For me, DohMance Dawn updates every other week, and yeah, you can find us at DohManceDawn.com. Kris Dobbins is doing the art for us this week since Mike Patton is doing a side quest. And we'll be back in 2 weeks to figure out the mystery of Duvall. And Geoffrey and Janine, on Discord, I'm sending you an image of Duvall. I want to know what your predictions are for this mysterious man in an iron mask.
Ooh. Well, I think he's going to be like a leather fetish guy. I think he's going to be like really into bondage, and I think that yeah, some of the One Piecers are going to be maybe into that. Maybe Brock, maybe our skeleton man will be into that, and that's going to be cool. We're going to be supportive of what people are into. We're not going to kink shame. That's my take.
Brook is very horny.
Great. Well, so I'm not wasn't inaccurate.
No.
Right.
Janine, what are your theories about who this Duvall is?
I have a feeling that this person is. God, if they have a gun like that, I feel like they're going to be a sniper character that's going to go up against Usopp. So he's got to have something that is either similar to Usopp to be something that Usopp kind of like has to do to get over himself, or somebody who is completely different from Usopp in a way that would challenge Usopp to be better. And I feel like that this character is going to be secretly a huge coward.
Interesting. Well, we're going to find out about Duvall's secret and his grudge against a specific member of the Straw Hats on the next episode, and we're also going to have a guest back for the next episode. So get ready for that in 2 more weeks as I try and not collapse under Convention Comic Month. See you then, Geoffrey. Thank you again for joining us, and everybody, smooth sailing.